Barnes would tear you apart. Again, Newcastle United keep winning. Bizarrely, it's finished at Molineux. Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Newcastle United 2, and this is the last word. We are here at Molineux. The five of us, can you believe it? What a five-a-side team we've got here.
It's like a boy band, isn't it?
It is. We've got Harry, Carl, Lee, and Sam.
If it was a boy band, we'd all be sitting on stools, and then for the last bit, we'd just all rise up at the same time.
You raise me up.
There you go.
Can we talk about football, please?
Already.
If you want to listen to the audio version of this, it is on every good podcast outlet. Definitely.
If you want to hear more songs from the NFTV team,
Carl in particular.
have a word with yourself.
Hey,
More?
We want more.
I didn't know we started.
Anyway, football.
Yeah, football. Let's talk about football. Let's talk about Premier League football. The international break was so long, Lee Lawler. But Newcastle United had a little bit of surprises in their lineup, didn't they? Jacob Murphy started. Lewis Hall started as well. That was probably one thing we'll probably keep on saying throughout the season. Is it going to be Lewis Hall? Is it going to be Lloyd Kelly? And Sandro Tonali was on the bench as well. What did you make of the starting 11?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we'll see the switch between Kelly and Hall depending on how sees who's he up against, attacking, defending, etc. Murphy one was probably the biggest one because I expected Fabian Schär to come in, although I didn't think Kraft deserved to be actually out the side because I think his form's been brilliant. But the Murphy one was a little bit surprised. I was like, really? And hopefully, Barnes come up, we'll talk about it later, and he obviously came up with a worldie, but a tad surprised at that, but the other two, the more I was surprised was Tonali.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously the fact that he played so well for Italy as well, Harry. When you look at Wolves, Lemina is probably one of the players you'd look out for, maybe Kuna. New signing Andre got a big welcome as well. Anybody's really, when you look at that Wolves team, go, I'm a bit nervous about them.
As you say, just Cunha probably really. To be fair, there's been a lot of turnover at Wolves. As with a lot of teams, I think some of the lads were saying in the group chat, I didn't realise Sam Johnson plays for Wolves. It's so much turnover that it's difficult to keep up. But Cunha was the one that stood out. I thought he played decent, to be fair, but no one else really stood out for them for me.
Carl, let's start with the first 20-25 minutes. It was a bit of Newcastle had a lot of possession, weren't doing a great deal with it. The closest was Anthony Gordon just after half an hour, where he basically decided to take on everybody from Wolverhampton Wanderers in a curling effort in the box and it hit the post. But Newcastle had a lot of possession, but I call that pointless possession. Possession up to a point, if you're not doing anything with it, it's pointless. What did you make of the first half an hour?
Yeah, I think Jacob Murphy's chance was in there as well, wasn't it? In that allotted time. I was trying to be more positive about it. I thought that we looked far better coming out with the ball with Fabian Schär, and I appreciate what you're saying, it is pointless, but we looked better. We looked back to sort of what we were expecting, and I felt encouraged by the first 25-30 minutes, but with Gordon and Jacob Murphy, realistically, we should have scored both of those chances. Yeah,
it was actually a good save from Sam Johnston, Lee, regarding that first effort. But was it crying out for Harvey Barnes? I know we're going to talk more about him in the second half, but Barnes should have really started today, shouldn't he?
Since you mentioned pointless quite a lot, tell you what is pointless: Wolves.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we never win here. We never win here. So I'm going to milk it. What was the question? Sorry.
About Harvey Barnes, should he have really started today?
He should have, because I'm a big fan of Harvey Barnes. When he signed, he scored 14, 15 goals when he's in the relegated side of Leicester. Scores goals, and you've seen it in pre-season, you've seen it at the start of the season, you've seen it last season before he got injured, and then the back end of last season as well. Scores goals, and there's not many wingers in the Premier League, even the top sides. You look at, say, Man City, they don't score... Not all of them score 14, 15 goals, but it does, and we'll probably talk about it quite a lot. Almiron, Murphy, Barnes, because we haven't strengthened that side, and that's a big talking point, of course, off the pitch.
Just to play devil's advocate. Branching out there.
People love this in the comments.
Well, Harvey Barnes gives us something off the bench, and like we've seen today, makes an impact. Obviously, ideally, Isaac doesn't come off at half time, but he's given us something, whereas Murphy's coming on at half-time. Things are less positive, both mentally, but also probably on the pitch as well, whereas Harvey Barnes would have already had 45 minutes into him, and whereas he's coming on fresh half-time and running at Wolves.
Yeah,
I don't know where I sit on it, but it's just to play devil's advocate.
No, I think it's certainly a good point.
That's what you're saying, Harry.
Yeah, basically. If I get your comments in, I think it's a really good point what Harry makes. Let us know if you agree or disagree in the comments. Sam, Wolves had a couple of moments, obviously a shot over the crossbar, which was never going to really trouble Nick Pope, but they did get their joy, and it was only really a couple of passes, and Wolves found themselves in a really good position. The number 9, I forget the name, but I thought he was a bit. I think he was the right back. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. Larson.
Yes.
I thought he was a bit of a handful for Schär and Burn at times, and he was fantastic for their first goal. But when you look at I've had the beauty of, I've had the, what do you call it?
So you're going to ask about their goal?
Yeah, the displeasure of seeing their goal back. I'm not being able to see our goals back, but Bruno Guimaraes just lets the Wolves midfielder go in, and Fabian Schär doesn't really look at Lemina, just kind of dazzles in, and it's 1-0 Wolves. Poor from all three, really.
Yeah, and it megged Burn on the way through as well. Why have you got to come to me for the negativity?
Wait, because
it was an absolute minging goal to concede, and it was kind of typical of the goals we conceded last season away from home. It's why Eddie Howe wanted a centre-back, because you would like to think Amart Gehi cuts that ball out, because it wasn't the greatest of balls in the box. Lemina's a very good Premier League midfielder. Is he a world beater? No. He had a good game today. He was their best player by far. We shouldn't be conceding goals like that, and those are the kind of moments we need to cut out. It came against the run of play. I thought we were very good for the first half an hour today. Furthermore, to Harry's point, we have a fantastic record when Murphy starts.
Was it the right decision?
No, I would have started Barnes. But having said that, before the goal, Barnes didn't do a vast amount either, and he wasn't keeping up with the press, and but it all worked out happily ever after, and I'm thoroughly chuffed to bits.
I was thoroughly chuffed to bits at 98 minutes, maybe not at 35 minutes, but Alexander Isak getting injured on the stroke of half-time, literally like 5 seconds before the full-time whistle, the half-time whistle. Yeah. That's a big concern. We still got Eddie to talk about all the injuries, but didn't look good.
I didn't think it was that serious, but initially, hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's just one of those precaution things. Funny enough, it kind of works in my favour, because if that doesn't happen, then Gordon doesn't go at the middle and Barnes doesn't come out on the left, is it? So you might look at that devil's advocate and what have you, but hopefully it's not too serious, because the last thing we need is strike at the club. Obviously you do have Will Usalan. We were talking about it at the match. When's he going to chuck him on? To top or something?
Wimbledon?
Probably, and yeah. Maybe Trippier, and a big shout out to Trippier as well.
I thought he was brilliant when he came out today. Talking about substitutes, Harry, 3 substitutes from Eddie Howe. Isak wasn't really surprised because of the fact that he came off injured bang on half time, not as a substitute, just came off at half time. But Joe Linton and Longstaff, more Joe Linton, he doesn't take Joe Linton off unless he feels that he really has to. Is that a bit of a statement, Harry?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, especially since there was doubt about Willock's fitness coming into this game, whether he would even be on the bench, let alone come off. So, yeah, possibly. I didn't see it coming. Definitely didn't see that coming. I didn't realise even Isak's injury was that serious. So it was a big statement to make 3 subs at half time as well. But I thought Willock and Tonali's impact was definitely positive as soon as the second half began.
Carl, what did you make of the subs? Because I think Eddie Howe, he basically played all his cards very, very early, didn't he? And I have to be honest, I know Tonali will get a lot more plaudits just because it's called Sandro Tonali, and he did play well. I'm not saying that he didn't, but I thought Joe Willock was outstanding in that second half in Newcastle. That energy is what we were missing today, what we were lacking, and I thought Wolves dominated the midfield battle at times. They were passing through Newcastle's midfield and getting into that final third, but I thought Joe Willock at times, when any time he had the ball, you felt something was going to happen, didn't you?
Yeah, it was. I was concerned about Joe Linton being taken off because it just put a massive hole in the midfield, and that Wolves did exploit that, and I was really concerned about that. But it was a case of, like you say, we either go out with an all. Eddie Howe could have either won or lost. If we'd have come away with a loss today, he could have blamed the decisions. It's just easy to do that, but I think it was 50-50. We've got to go out and get the win, and I was more happy for us to do that than start pushing forward with the likes of Joe Willock, because it felt like we weren't going to score. So if it was a case of sacrificing Joe Linton for us to have our most attacking team out there, then it ended up working. So happy days.
Yeah, certainly so in terms of happy days in terms of Newcastle United. And Lee, before we talk about the equaliser, Trippier coming on did make a difference, and maybe just that calm head, that experienced head, it was probably what we needed at that point. And Fabian Schär, another. All right, mate, we're trying to do a video here. Johnny's. I don't think he was quite happy with that, was he?
Not quite in the sync, is he?
No, he's not. But Fabian Schär, again...
Fabian Schär.
I know you've got a bit of a man crush on him, but we were talking about whether he's actually going to start, and you mentioned Emil Kraft hasn't really done a lot wrong. He did have a little bit of a knock coming into the week, and Eddie Howe mentioned that in his press conference on Friday. But so many times you hear Newcastle fans go, shoot. He shoots, and he scores with a little deflection on the way in. And look, I would say, I don't think it was coming, but it was certainly what we needed at that moment in time.
Sam makes a good point. I know he's going to say it, but I'm going to steal his thunder. Sometimes you've just got to have a hit, have a pop.
Yeah.
You never know, you might get a ricochet, you might get a double deflection, you might get a penalty, you might have handball, corner might come in, you might score from it. So sometimes when plan A isn't working, try a plan B, and he just thought, you know what, and at one point, I think it was just after the goal, we seen him right wing, didn't we? Yeah. What's he doing?
Probably made an amazing run as well.
Yeah, he didn't. He should have had a shot, and probably Fabian Schär, maybe is one of the best crosses in the club, but we don't seem out wide, do we? But Fabian Schär just says, you know what, I'm going to hit this massive deflection. Everyone's got nuts. Probably didn't deserve it.
Against the run of play?
Not against the run of play, I wouldn't say that, but I think it was a boxing match. I think Wolves are winning on points.
Yeah, certainly I agree with that.
Great analogy.
You know what? He's happy with that. He's happy with that. Anthony Joshua fights on Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, where you work, don't you?
I've just noticed your beard.
That's very odd.
Yeah, very odd.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
So is the jacket.
Anyway, Sam, if I said to you, describe to me a typical Harvey Barnes goal, but at Molineux, how would you describe it?
I don't need to describe it. Just actions speak louder than words. And again, sometimes you've just got to smash it. As soon as he got it and, opened himself up, beats one man, comes inside, you know exactly where it's going to go. And it just doesn't matter. What did he say?
Richard Keys style.
God. Yeah, I mean, look, it was a tremendous strike. And once we got that equaliser, there was only one team going on to win it, and it was us all over. Trippier's impact on the game was huge. Yeah. Absolutely huge. We were. I said to Carl actually at half time, because changes needed to be made at half time. Obviously, we didn't want Isak to come off, and that's the kind of. Much as the theme of last season was okay, we've won, but we've lost players to injuries. Our two best players have gone off injured today, in Isak and Bruno. So hopefully it's not too serious, but. Geez, exactly. But Trippier, we were playing like 11 headless chickens with no direction, really. As I said to Carl, I'd be bringing Trippier on at half time. Tino wasn't.
It wasn't that bad.
No, he wasn't. But sometimes you need a game is in a position where you need that experienced player to kind of direct traffic, and that's what he did. And I don't think we would have won that game without him, despite his goal involvement's not being there. But he's the natural leader in that 11. The two goals were fantastic. Yeah. It's about time we came and won here, and that's what we've done. And I say it wasn't pretty. The two goals were, but I'm just happy to get the 3 points finally.
Finally, Newcastle have come here and got all 3 points. And that is what Eddie Howe was cooking. We'll get his thoughts in a second. But Carl, describe your emotions when you've seen Harvey Barnes put the ball in the back of the net.
He's laughing because I've captured him.
Yeah. Come on, tell us, because it'll just come around about now.
I actually had to, have a breather afterwards because I genuinely couldn't breathe. Giving it a load.
Don't you do like Iron Man things where you carry big logs and like proper manly?
That's his brother.
Jumped up on the back of the seat, giving it absolute stacks, and I got down. I was like, "Lads, I can't fucking breathe."
Yes, that's right. Actually, I turned round and you were the same height as me.
How did that feel?
Unbelievable.
I bet it did.
Unbelievable. Oh yeah, I was. I don't know. I was like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Sylvester Stallone, all tied into one.
Yeah. Lloyd Kelly came on. Lewis Hall was knackered, if I'm putting it politely, and we saw it out, but it wasn't for a very, very good save from Nick Pope. About 93 minutes in, Craig Dawson was coming on. Everybody was coming on, but it was a big moment, Harry, because if Nick Pope hasn't done a lot, he's made 2 decent saves throughout the game that I can remember off the top of my head. But when he's there, he makes big moments, and that's why Newcastle come away with 3 points as well.
Yeah, you're completely right. Massive save, because if he doesn't make that, I mean, obvious to say, but if he doesn't make that save, we're 2 points lesser off today. Like, outstanding.
And it's another draw. It'll be another draw here.
So just completely out the cold. It wasn't his best game today in terms of the ball at his feet, but Nick Pope is there for moments like that, and that was a fantastic save.
And Newcastle got all 3 points, partly to do with that, partly to do with Harvey Barnes, partly to do with Eddie Howe's substitutions as well, which will get everybody's thoughts on what you already have so far, but maybe towards the injury side of things as well. Was it needed? Well, let's see what Eddie has to say about all this in his post-match press conference.
Yeah, mixture of both. I wasn't totally satisfied, especially with the last 25 minutes of the half. We've got quality players on the bench, and the lads know that are playing that they have to perform. And if they don't perform to the correct levels, then we have the ability to make those changes. I have to credit the players that came on. They showed their qualities. I mean, Harvey's goal was outstanding. a brilliant moment, and he's done that a few times for us. So delighted with the squad. Everyone played their part, and it's a massive win.
Yeah, I think we know we can play a lot better. At the moment, it's great we get the results, but we need to improve our game, be more consistent over the whole game. I think we know we can play a lot better football, and I think that it's also good to know because we want to go on the next level.
Last year, probably proud ourselves on a lot of clean sheets, and this year not so many. So, and I think for our attacking play, I think you can see it's not quite clicking in spells in games. You can see glimpses of it, but last year there was times where we were going into games knowing we were going to score 3, 4, 5 goals. At the minute, it's harder, but we're getting there. Like we said, it's a good start points wise, but performance wise, we've still got a lot to build on.
Thanks, Eddie. Lee, let's talk about injuries and substitutions. Did Eddie Howe make the right decision, or was he forced to make the right decision?
Bit of both. I think you've got to give credit to some of the subs that he made as well. Just one point of that sub, later on in the game, Lewis Hall was playing as a striker.
He carried hit. He was just cramp, wasn't it? Just cramp.
Yeah, so we had Lewis Hall, his brother was in the crowd today as well, who's been on your podcast as well.
The Green and Milner Show, all available on good
All
podcast outlets.
Really, really well plugged.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Not by me, by him.
But with the injuries, I think he's safe, isn't he? He's a bit like Rafa, isn't he?
Was that safe, bringing Tonali on, bringing Willock on for Joe Linton and
I think
Longstaff?
the substitutions that he made were fantastic. You've got to give credit, but also the ones that, Isak, right? Because Isak's his star striker. He bangs you more than 1 and 2, and he didn't really want to take him off, do you? So precaution is to take priority. Players' health and whatever. And he would have loved to keep him on. However, I think the subs were great. I didn't think they kicked in straight away. I think it took a little bit of a while for the half-time subs, but the Trippier one is the big one, because at one point he's got the ball and he's like, go on, get up. Yeah. He's pointing, get up.
That's the point I made. He was directing traffic. There was no direction, especially because it's on the far side of the pitch. A lot of our play was down the left at times, and we weren't spreading the play enough, and Trippier is so good at, as I say, directing traffic and making people aware of just what's required, and he's so good, and I'm so pleased we didn't sell him. He doesn't need the armband. He's just fantastic at what he does. Tonali was great.
Well, I was about to say, talk to me about Tonali, because everyone's been saying we need to get Tonali on, drop Longstaff, get Tonali on, drop whoever, get Tonali on. But Longstaff and Joe Linton were taken off for Tonali and Willock to come on. Did Tonali, Willock and Bruno work better with the whole Tonali conundrum?
A little bit. I think what was lacking in the first half from the midfield, which is why Eddie Howe made the change, there wasn't enough energy and dynamism in there. What will Willock bring you? Pace.
Bosh. I like that.
We're all coming out big words today.
Thanks. But
you can tell we've won a game.
There was not enough dynamism in that midfield, which Willock will give you with because he's so kind of underrated with his pace, really, and Joe Linton hasn't got that in his locker. Same with Sean, really. Neither did actually really anything wrong, but there wasn't enough impetus there to really, because the press was spot on for the front three in the first half, but it wasn't being backed up well enough. And Tonali was sensational, I thought. He stays in the team now for me. There's enough's enough. I said to Carl when we looked at the lineup when we were inside the ground, I said, whatever happened to just playing your best players in their positions? We're playing one game a week. We don't have to manage. We don't have to manage because we're not playing like the teams in the Champions League. Villa down the road, they've got 7 games in three weeks, I think now. Yeah,
it's crazy. And Harry, you look at Tonali potentially coming in. If he does come in, what is the midfield free for Fulham?
Well, I mean that's dependent on how Joe Linton is, whether he's picked up a knock or whatever. But Joe Linton, Bruno, Tonali for me, and that's so exciting. I still think whether he's right 100% there or not, fitness-wise, and I always think he's a better player off the bench. I don't know what it is, but him coming on in the second half, driving forward with his energy, it's different, whereas Joe Linton puts in those big tackles, and if you get it, take him off after 60 minutes, bring Willock on, you've got such a different dynamic to that game, especially if we're not ahead of the game at that point. So for me, Joe Linton just starts.
Just about. Let us know who your midfield three would be against Fulham. Luxury of having one game a week.
Can I shout out Jacob Murphy's yellow card? Because I thought it was brilliant. It was probably my most favourite booking ever. This is Jacob Murphy at his best. Now, I wouldn't have started him today. I don't think he's good enough to be consistently in our team. but there's just some things that he's great at. And late on, when you're trying to waste time, obviously now in the Premier League, balls are positioned on cones outside the pitch. Jacob Murphy followed the ball, went out, nearly went out the stadium to just go and
he was on the stand colours.
just go and chase it down there, and then just return back for a booking to waste time. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I have to be honest. As much as I enjoyed that, he was woeful for me today. I thought he was absolutely woeful. I thought his football intelligence today was very, very questionable to say.
Trippier helped when he came on.
Yeah, maybe so. This is your updated Premier League table. Newcastle United are third in the Premier League. Manchester City are the only team with a 100% win record. Arsenal are second with 10 points. And we're third with 10 points. Can you believe it, Arsenal? No, you cannot believe it.
We have not played well and we've got 10 points.
Exactly.
But isn't that a sign of a good team?
Yeah, sign of a good team when they're not playing well. Just about. But
25% of the way there.
These, on the other hand, I'd be very concerned for, because long are the days now where they've spent their money and they've had to kind of wheel and deal and stuff, and they've picked up a couple of good signings here, but there's no one on that team sheet that you fear anymore.
No, not at all. But Lee,
Gary O'Neill's never beaten Eddie Howe.
He hasn't been that. Let's talk about the Premier League team just very, very quickly. 10 points from 12 through to the next round. I know we've mentioned that a few times. But out of those 4 games that we've got the 10 points, have you had to put them out as a total? How well have Newcastle played in those 4 games?
Not great, even the cup game, Forest. So you could say that one as well. I think we're probably being outshaded in every game. I think the Southampton one you can't really look at, because Southampton, yes, played well the first half an hour and then the red card come. That might be in a different story. We've had 11, but we still got the win. But the others, it's probably 60-40 towards them. But you know what it is. Well, we've done loads of videos down the years where we've played well and we've got a point over header. Remember the Dubravka one here? Yeah. The last minute. We should have won that, and the amount of times we've done videos here and wherever up and down.
Particularly on a Monday night.
Yeah, we'll probably have one or two of them this season. But look, 10 points from 10 points from 4 games.
Yeah.
I can't speak now. It's a good return, and we're not playing well. So brilliant, I think. And the only thing is, when we do start playing well, what can this team be capable of? And yes, I know the transfer window was a real sour thing, but this team, it's still capable, and I'll still say it now, and I won't change my mind. Top 5. Yeah. I said that before the transfer window closed, even without strengthening.
Yeah, certainly. Harry,
I'm not normally one for stats, but I think I was just kind of reaffirming what I was about to say, but I wanted some statistical analysis to back me up. I think we just about deserved to get the win today. I'll be honest. We had more shots than them. I think we controlled the game a lot more. Yes, of course they had their moments. They're playing at home. I thought the stadium up until they scored was so flat. And I think the crowd here, which isn't what it's normally like here.
It's not a good away end.
No. I meant the home crowd that's flat. Nothing to do with our away.
But what did you say to Carl 65 minutes in?
We could be playing till next week and we might not score here, but
because my question was going to be, did Eddie Howe's experience show over Gary O'Neill, essentially, in terms of certain moments and certain decisions?
No, I think our strength in depth, now that we've got players back fit, showed more than anything, and sometimes you've just got to twat it.
Harry, start us off. Who was man of the match for Newcastle today?
It's a very difficult question, actually.
Thank you.
I'll go Harvey Barnes.
Carl?
Lewis Hall.
Not a bad shout. Lee?
Harvey Barnes. I don't think the starting 11 deserve it.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to say Harvey Barnes. I just think that moment has won us the game and no one really massively shone. What about you?
It is a tricky one. I think Lemina was unlucky not to be on the winning team today. But on a whole...
For Newcastle more than anything.
No shit, Sherlock. It's tricky because everyone kind of played okay, but none of them were overly spectacular. Gordon looked a lot more sharp today, should have scored in the first half. And pressed very, very well, pressed very well. So I'll just shade it and give it Gordon.
Let us know in the comments just about Harvey Barnes gets a Newcastle Fans TV man of the match, but it's all about yourselves in the comments. Let us know what you thought of Newcastle United's win here at Molineux. A big win for Eddie Howe's side. It's another trip to the capital next week as Newcastle go to Craven Cottage to take on Fulham. Hopefully everybody's okay. Isak, Bruno, everybody
Carl's doing the Fulham Newcastle Joshua Dubois double.
Is he?
Saturday.
What a double that is. What a double that is.
Friend. I've got a friend.
So Lee and Carl will be at Craven Cottage next week, so make sure you stay tuned with everything Newcastle Fans TV related for all the latest Newcastle United news. But from a very happy Molineux. Well, dark and gloomy, but happy Molineux.
Should we go and get drunk now?
Yeah, we'll see you all very soon.